Well, I've got some good news and some bad news. The good news is that the weather is gorgeous in the Northeast this week. The bad news, another coastal storm is expected this weekend, and it could bring another round of heavy rain and flooding potential with it. Let's break it down. Hey guys, I'm John with New York Metro Weather. Today is Monday, October 9th. Visible satellite imagery shows us what we already know. Today was a beautiful day across a large majority of the area. Westerly flow, low dew points, pleasant weather. Just a couple clouds working in this afternoon and evening. We'll watch for a few spotty showers late tonight, but again, not really that big of a deal, just some spotty showers and moisture. The broader picture is that the weather is really nice for the next couple of days. A lot of that has to do with the pattern that's in place right now, and that is there's this big upper level low just sitting over the area and spinning out. So the storm is up here in Canada, and us down here in the mid-Atlantic and Northeast, we're just getting this dry westerly flow, which is great. But what's bringing us the good news is also going to bring us bad news for the weekend, and let's get into that. So nice weather for the next couple of days, going to be top tier fall weather, but by this weekend, things are going to take a turn for the worse. Now, look north of our storm, and we see a big red blob forming. And I talk about this in a couple of my videos. I just want to tell you again what it is. This is called a high latitude block. And what we're looking at here is a simulation of about 10,000 feet up above our heads. So way, way up there. But these are where a lot of the patterns and the steering flow for our storms is. And so when we see this big red area here, this is a high latitude blocking ridge of high pressure up there. So this is a big deal because what this does is it acts almost like an atmospheric stop sign or causes a traffic jam. Storms usually would just spin up and head up into Canada or the North Atlantic and just be out of here. But because of this block, everything is slowed down. And when you slow down things in the atmosphere, you tend to get a traffic jam where storms can phase, they can merge, and they can amplify and become stronger. And that's exactly what we see simulated for this weekend, is this disturbance comes out of the Midwest. And that might not normally be a big deal. The storm would probably just amplify up into the Great Lakes, but it can't do that. The block is stopping it from doing that. It's slowing everything down. And so this storm comes through into the east, it amplifies, and it turns into a really large storm system in the eastern U.S. from this weekend into the early part of next week. And that's why we're so confident, even at this time frame, that we're going to have unsettled weather this weekend. We always look at vorticity. This is a spin in the atmosphere. This gives us an even better idea of what's going on. So here's our storm from this past weekend. It's still spinning in New England because the block won't let it go anywhere. Here's your block here. So the storm comes into the Midwest, and normally, again, it would head this way, but watch what it does instead. It moves east, and it heads right into the eastern U.S., phases with another disturbance, and ends up becoming this big, large upper-level low that just spins over the eastern United States. And again, our block is still here saying, you can't go this way. You're going to spin out here. And this storm does become pretty big and large, and it could be impactful for quite a bit of people as a result of the fact that it does become a more substantial system thanks to this block. So let's look at what might actually happen. Now, I want to always stress, this is just one model solution. This is just a European model. Here comes our low pressure into the Ohio Valley. This is Saturday morning. So Friday is salvage, right? The second half of Friday is basically the weekend. So we're going to call that a fine day for most of the Northeast. It's Saturday morning and afternoon where we start to get this moisture coming in. So here comes our low pressure system. We start to pick up some of that Atlantic moisture. So rain is overspreading the mid-Atlantic and parts of the interior Northeast Saturday. And then Saturday night into Sunday morning, the European model says this is going to really ramp up because our coastal low really starts to strengthen Saturday into Sunday, and the precipitation starts to become more significant. We now have that influence of the tropical moisture coming up into this storm system, and the storm is strengthening off the coast. And so the models say this is going to be a large, expansive storm system. It will be a coastal storm strengthening off the mid-Atlantic coast, and it could have the potential to bring significant rainfall, wind, and coastal flooding to a lot of areas if it does amplify in this way. Now, depending on which model you look at, some suggest the storm will head this way and then just kind of pass on by. It won't strengthen. The coastal storm won't really strengthen. We'll have to see which model is going to be correct. If the European's correct, this is a pretty impactful storm. If some of the other models are correct, it might just swing on by, bring us some rain, and not be as impactful. But looking at the European again, the other thing that sticks out, because that coastal storm does ramp up, we get that onshore flow. We talk about this a lot. The air rotating around the low pressure will bring this onshore flow in when the low pressure is to the south here. And so here's this easterly flow into areas like Long Island, Connecticut, New Jersey. That could lead to coastal flooding and some beach erosion if the storm does amplify the way that some models suggest that it could. In addition, to that potential for that steady and heavy rainfall. So we need to watch out for this and see just how strong this coastal low does get. Looking at precipitation totals, I'm going to back this up and run it through. Here comes the European model. Friday night is fine. It's Saturday when we start to see the rainfall increase, and then into Sunday and even lingering into Monday. Right now, the model's suggesting about 1 to 2 inches of rain, but this is an ensemble. So this is the mean of 50 or 100 members. This is just the middle ground. So what this tells me at this range is that there's some members that are showing a lot less and some members that are showing a lot more. And the potential exists, if this storm does form, for more significant rainfall amounts than what's being pinned down here. In fact, looking at this operational run of the European model again, you can just see the heavy rainfall falling with this storm as it comes through, in addition to that wind and the coastal storm really strengthening. So again, it's still several days out, but given what we know about the pattern around the hemisphere, the high latitude blocking in place, we're more confident than usual that this is going to be an unsettled weekend, especially Saturday and Sunday, and the potential does exist for another round of heavy rain and flooding, as well as wind and some coastal flooding along the area shoreline. So stay tuned. If you guys have any questions, leave them right here in the comments. We'll be happy to help. And of course, we'll be back throughout the week with updates on the models and what to expect from this storm as we get through the week and closer to the weekend. Thanks so much for watching, guys.